Philippines, good evening. Naimbag Arabi, masanto siya sa labin si kayo amin maya pabengi kay ka marahay na banggi sa Indugabos maupay nga gabi ha iyo nga tanan dida. Mayad-mayad nga gabi, maradyaw na duyom. Buenas noches. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala barakatuh. Maayong gabi si tanang sa Tibok Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao up to Philippine Sabah. Ako po si Eric Espina and this is Republika. Well, tonight we're in the election season, and as part of our voter education for 2025, we have a senatorial ball. So the title of this program is Senatorial Ball 2025. And we are presenting to you one of the candidates who will be running for your consideration. And we're very fortunate to have that with his tremendous background. He was Secretary of National Defense and was also Secretary, Presidential Advisor on the National Security. We're very fortunate to have none other than Secretary Bert Gonzales. Good evening, sir.
Hi, good evening. Good evening.
Yes. We are in the radar of the 39th EDSA Revolution. Just as warm up, sir, what are your brief thoughts and takeouts of the EDSA People Power Revolution?
Well, I think yung celebration na nangyari kahapon, not as big as it should be. Pero it is indicative na para bang may mangyayari na naman sa bayan natin. Otherwise, hindi magkakaroon ng recollection kasi medyo dina-downplay na yung nangyari sa EDSA. Not only by this current administration, but through the years, nawawala na yung kanyang significance sa bayan. Pero suddenly, there is really an effort to revive, no? To remember. Ako naman, ipinakita ko sa aking Facebook, yung libro na may dedication si Cory Aquino sa akin. Ang tingin ko kasi, dapat i-revive din natin. Not only the memory of the EDSA Revolution, but the two key personalities that made it possible. Si Ninoy at saka si Cory Aquino.
Okay. And then for future generations po, we're on the 39th year. Just a quick review. What are the lessons or what is the takeout? Was EDSA the be-all and everything for the Filipino people in terms of palagi tayong nang nadidinig na, hindi naman naayos tong ganito, hindi naman na gumanda yung ganito? Or should it be just one brief shining moment in Philippine history?
Siguro ko dalawang aspekto, no?
Oo.
First is yung period na that brought about the revolution. And number two, a little assessment of what happened after. Yung alam mo, yung EDSA Revolution is not a brief moment na bigla tayong nabuhay, no? It is really a sum total of all the struggles, no? Even before the declaration of martial law. If you can remember, yung society natin doon, especially the young people, are already clamoring for fundamental change in society, which is happening also practically in all major cities of the world. Sa atin, ang ating parang nangyari, this was also the time na biglang pumasok yung Mao Zedong thought na dala-dala ni Zhou Maxison from China, and he's advocating that the only way we can change our society is through a violent revolution. Ang naging sagot naman ng many other groupings of the young people is reformist in character. Kaya nagkaroon ng charter change. No? Nagkaroon tayo ng constitutional convention. Kaya lang na-preempt ng martial law. The struggle started from there. No? Until such time na hindi na siguro phenomenal yung growth ng New People's Army. Na some people are saying na tinulungan pa ni Marcos para lalong gumanda yung kanyang excuse for declaring his dictatorship. And then, yan, ang pagkamatay ni Ninoy, which is, I think, yan talaga nag-trigger ng talagang seriousness sa people power revolution natin. Pumasok si Cory, the rest is history. Later on, I had a chance to talk to one of the brothers of President Cory and ask him, how come bumalik ang traditional politics sa Pilipinas after the people power revolution? And he was saying that, paano gagawin natin yung mga aktivista? Hindi naman sila handa na magpatakbo ng gobyerno.
Yes.
So this is the argument. So what are the lessons learned? No? Number one, I think we should assert the fact that triggering regime change can be peaceful, as we have proven at least twice.
Okay.
Very important yung peaceful approach to effecting regime change. That's very important. Number two, we should not fall into the mistakes of the past na basta tanggalin ang diktadura, that's it.
Okay na.
Ay, ngayon, with lessons learned, dapat pinaghahandaan. You know, the aftermath of regime change should be prepared for. Otherwise, ay balik na naman tayo sa dati. Business as usual. You know, especially today that the traditional politicians are at the height of their power.
Alive and kicking.
Yeah, very, very much. So kailangan paghandaan talaga. If there should be regime change, it should not really be a matter of changing personalities. Paghandaan na talaga, ano ang aftermath ng regime change?
It's 2025. We're about to have elections. Possible reforms may come in with new personalities, or perhaps, as the saying goes, more of the same. So, ang una kong tatanong ko po sa inyo, why is Secretary Bert Gonzales running for the Senate?
Well, my running for the Senate is actually a continuation, no, of what I thought, and my own political party is thinking is that bulok na talagang political system natin. Pagtapos, there is really no alternative model on how politics is practiced. In our part of the world, dito sa Pilipinas, hindi mo masasabing democratic yung ating practice. We're very, niloloko natin ang sambayanan, binibili natin, binabayaran natin, binamanipulate natin yung ating electoral system, dinadaya natin ang eleksyon. So, in short, which is most fundamental in democracy is the opportunity for our people to choose their own leaders. That is not so in the Philippines. So, what I've been trying to do, this is my second time running in an election, na pinapakita ko lang that in mature democracies, iba yung practice na campaign, no? That wherein you tackle the immediate problems of the nation, try to recommend solutions to them, no? And then policy options, and most important, defining a dream for our society.
Yes, tama
defining a dream is
tama.
most important.
Oo. Is it so unfortunate, Mr. Secretary, that the issues are really not about defining and creating a consensus to be able to push a particular political agenda, but it's now becoming what is called as defining the personalities. More about personalities. And what is our takeaway from that? Our people are moved by personalities, by the imaging, and we think the imaging is actually the real persona.
Alam mo, reason why I'm running, huh?
Yes.
Because I was encouraged by the first national run that I made.
Yes.
About more than 2 years ago.
Yes.
Even, imagine, run for president.
Yes.
I thought I will be laughed at. But no, my experience showed me na para bang nakikita na rin ng ating taong bayan na dalawang klase ng politika sa Pilipinas. Yung nakagawian natin na traditional politics. And I go along with that. Politiko nagdi-distribute ng pera, tanggap ng pera. Dayaan, tanggap na rin. Ang mga politiko pa rin natin, nagsasabi na kung nadaya ka, wag kang magalit. Ibig sabihin lang, mahina yung pagkakadaya mo, mas magaling yung kalaban mo. So that you accept. That's one world that is in the Philippines, ongoing, growing strong. But the people, sabihin natin na ang iba hindi masyado sophisticated sa politika. But it surprises me also that when you begin to speak of a first world Philippines, for example, no, as our dream in the future.
Pareho po tayo niyan, dyan sa first world na yan.
Yeah. Bakit hindi natin sinusubukan maging first world? Ang first world, hindi panalo sa loto yan. Bigla na lang naging aksidente. That is very well prepared by a nation, by a people. No, sabi ko, kaya ang education natin, kailangan excellent.
Baka po siguro, first world ang ating mga pangarap. Our dreams are really for first world, and that's how we want to be defined. The problem is our candidates, the current crop at least, are they first world? Or malabnaw ho yung mga kandidato ngayon dahil sikat, karamihan na sikat.
Ang tingin nila sa first world, doon sila magbabakasyon.
Okay.
Ang bakasyon nila doon sa mga first world capitals of the world. No? Pero dito sa atin, dito yung ibang klase dito, hindi tayo dapat maging first world, hindi dapat makatikim ng yaman ng nakakarami sa atin, kasi otherwise, yung kanilang technique sa pag-akwa ng power at pag-maintain and sustain power will not be possible anymore. No? Kasi tamang-tama lang yung klase ng lipunan natin sa uri ng pamumulitika na ginagamit ng ating mga politiko. So first world, well, ako nga matagal-tagal na rin ako sa larangan ng politika. Wala ka halos madinig na nagsasabi kailangan maging first world tayo because to become first world takes a lot of planning.
Correct.
Takes a strategy.
Yes.
Takes the mobilization of the entire Philippine society. Otherwise, we will not be there. Yes. Kaya marami-raming policy solutions yan sa mga batas na dapat gawin.
Immediate legislation. What would be your immediate legislation? It's the go-to question for people who are running for the Senate. What would be your immediate legislation?
Ay ako yung first one malapit talaga sa puso ko yan. And that's really my dream, myself, na dapat mangyari. Pero marami talaga tayong immediate problems being confronted by the people today. And it's important na kahit medyo nalalayo yan sa pagpunta sa first world, we have to already inform our people what are these essential problems.
Naniniwala po kayo sa kasabihan na there is no substitute to victory, or mahalaga po ba na makasama ang inyong mga pananaw at ang mga issues na nakatenga lang para mapagpatuloy natin ang paghanap natin dito po sa first world na ito?
Well, sa ngayon kasi, ang pinakamalaking hindrance sa paggawa ng first world, yung ating politicians. Mismo at ang ating political system. No? Kasi ang paggawa ang pag-pursue ng first world, kailangan yung leadership nangunguna dyan. No? Otherwise, what will our people think about? Kahit na anong gawin mong efforts dyan, kunyari, pinagtatalo na natin yung Department of Education. To be one fundamental requisite of becoming first world is the kind of education we have. Okay. No? Yung paghahanda ng taong mayan para maging excellent yung kanilang.
Sir, we're going to pause for a few reminders, and when we come back, we'll take off from what we were talking about. And then the other thing that we're going to be touching will be other major issues which are right now in the middle of everything. Okay. When Republica returns. Muli po nagbabalik ang ating programang Republika. Kausap pa rin po natin isa pong naghahangad na maging senador ng ating Republika. Siya po ay dating kalihim sa tanggulang pambansa at sa pambansang seguridad. Walang iba kundi si Secretary Bert Gonzales. Sir, we are always hearing, you mentioned about education. So, are you leaning towards your first legislation in terms of education, or there is a saying, marami na tayong batas. We have so many laws. The problem is implementation.
Alam mo kanina, I was mentioning to you na bagamat ito ay magagandang direction for the nation, I'd like to now, in this campaign period, succeed in telling our people na meron tayong malubhang problema na hinaharap. And, well, so happened I was defense or national security advisor. But, you know, we are not seriously taking the threat of the possibility of a China invasion or war with China. Hindi natin yan tinitignan eh. But to me, this is the most fundamental. Kaya if you're asking me, what will be my first act if I am a senator?
Yes. What would be your first legislation? Bill?
The making military service for our young people compulsory. It's very important kasi ito lang natitira nating what I will consider to be a decision, a policy decision, serious enough to you know, para makita ng China we're becoming serious. Not in matters of declaring war on them, but showing the character of the Filipino people, the very essential para irespeto ka ng ibang bansa.
Yes.
That is the willingness to defend the motherland, to defend your territory, that you love your country. Ito, importante ito kasi ang alam mo sa mga kabataan natin, dapat maunawaan nila na ang military service is not just an obligation. You know? It is an expression of our character as a nation and as a people. No? Yung ating pagmamahal sa bayan, ang willingness natin na magtanggol sa anumang banda na tayo ay invade. Kaya ako, that may be my first. I don't know if that will be popular or not, no? But so far, ang nag-iimbita sa aking mga dito during this period ay mostly from universities. Iniimbita ako ng mga kabataan na is either that they want to know more about what I'm trying to tell them, or naniniwala sila na tama yan. Kasi wala tayong defense strategy at the moment.
That is a very grown-up and substantive attitude for the national character po, Secretary, no? Na one that would really gain traction in terms of also mutual respect from other countries who view us.
Very important.
Kasi mukhang kailangan natin ng mga grown-ups in the Senate. Okay. My next question, sir, we'll touch on the current issues now, the warm issues now. For example, tingnan niyo po sa impeachment. Should it proceed? Should it not proceed? Kailangan ba itong kongreso na ito? Bakit minamadali? Pwede bang ipagpaliban sa 20th Congress?
Ang appreciation ko kasi dyan, tingin ko, the way things are going, yung impeachment na pinaplano para sa Vice President will most likely follow the same pattern ng impeachment ni Chief Justice Corona.
Okay.
So, ganun yan. It will be highly partisan. It will be truly simply a political action.
Exercise?
Oo, bagamat magtatambakan ng mga abogado dyan. I don't think this is a legal process. No?
Okay.
It will be political. So, kung sakalit matuloy yan, malamang ma-accomplish yung gusto mangyari ng nag-initiate ng impeachment in the first place, which is to remove the Vice President.
So, would there be any monetary considerations coming from the initiator of the impeachment as well, based on the Corona experience?
Precisely. That's why I mentioned the Corona experience para wag na tayong magsalita ng detalye. But the main feature of the Corona impeachment is money.
Pera lang po.
Pera lang yan.
Kung magkano?
At kung magkano ang tingin natin, if also we will learn from or look at our observation on the way money is being used today, abay, mas malaki.
When the impeachment was initiated, is there already an end game to all this in terms of the agenda of the lower house? May mga pangalan na bang tinitignan na posibleng maging vice president? Kasi lumalabas po, and we're not saying this is true, no? Just as a caveat, we're not saying, but ang lumalabas na pangalan, si Speaker Martin Romualdez, is he the only one or are there other names sa pagkaalam nyo?
Well, may mga nadidinig tayo na being floated around.
Ilan po? Mga dalawa, tatlo?
Ako yung alam ko, dalawa lang eh.
Dalawa lang? Okay.
But hindi siguro magandang tignan kung si Speaker Romualdez ang pipiliin nila.
Okay.
Hindi rin siguro magandang tignan kung yung the son of the president mismo gagawin nilang vice president.
So may mga ibang pangalan? There are other names?
May mga ibang pangalan, I think, na kino-consider. And I think, from the way they choose people to join government or be part of the power structure, loyalty ang important dyan.
Just a few days, lumabas po yung pangalan ni Senate President Chis Escudero as a possible nominee. I don't know whether it is true. I don't know whether it's in the list. We do not know whether this is one way to encourage the expeditious convening of the Senate.
Alam mo, ang very important kasi alam mo yung posisyon ng Vice President, kung yan yan ang magiging designated the constitutional successor to the President. So they will make sure that ang pipiliin nila yung kung siya ang maging presidente, number one, hindi gagalawin ang pamilya ng presidente. Number two, itutuloy ang programa na yung essential project ng ating Pangulo, ng pamilya niya, yung pinaka-consider niya na talagang gusto niyang mangyari, kung hindi niya matapos, ang pipiliin niyang vice president, yung magtutuloy niyan, yung magre-respeto na kanyang plano na kanyang pamilya.
For purposes of fairness, of course, it has been stated by Malacanang that the President had says 4 times he has rejected the idea of the impeachment. And then, on top of that, the Iglesia ni Cristo protected this position of the President by coming up and convening for a peace rally. And other people joined the very same rally. How do you see the portrayal of the ANC, and how does this all impact the impeachment moving forward or being stayed?
Ito observation lang ito ha. Ang observation natin sa Pangulo, ayaw niyang masasabit sa anumang controversial na action or effort, no. Kaya lagi siyang nagdidistansya sa anumang issue na tingin niya controversial. But it's not necessarily true that that is his position.
Okay.
Gusto niya lang na huwag siyang madamay. Kaya yung pagtanggi niya sa impeachment ng Vice President. From the start, I think people do not believe him. I think there's no... Nakikita mo naman sa body language yan eh. Umiiwas lang. Pero ngayon, nakikita mo naman na dumidiretso na si Pangulo na talagang sige. Nandiyan na yan eh. Sabi niya, hindi ako nagsimula niyan, pero nandiyan na yan. So I'll be very serious about it. Yung sa Iglesia ni Cristo, parang si Presidente din yan eh.
Okay.
Ayaw din nilang masabi diretso na ayaw naman nilang ma-impeach si Vice President Sara. Kaya ginagamitan nila, alam mo, hindi ko alam kung anong tawag doon sa proseso na yun na, sinusuportahan lang naman namin na sinabi ng Pangulo.
Presidente, yes.
Pero ipinakikita na yung lakas na. What for? I mean, kaya sa tingin ko, ang Iglesia made a decision on that, during that time na hanggat bari, ayaw nilang matuloy ang impeachment process.
Will it affect in one way or the other the congressmen who probably signed and those who did not sign, seeing the mass of people gathered in the Carino Grandstand and in other parts of the country, and would this have an effect on the senatoriables?
Well, alam mo, yung mga nagsipirma, hindi na pwede umatras yun. Kasi bayad na eh.
Okay.
Mahirap yan, no? O kaya may pangako ng bayad. I'm sorry to be very blunt about this matter. Pero yan ang nadidinig natin na istorya. And then, yung sa iglesia naman, ang talagang value ng iglesia sa mga politiko ay yung boto, black voting nila. Pero kasi nadadaya ng eleksyon natin ngayon, that is probably more efficient than the promise of a particular institution promising you for a black vote in your favor.
Are we talking about the server provider, or are we talking about the Constitutional Commission?
Hindi ako
which is the COMELEC.
Hindi ako politika savvy, no? Pero yung mga nadidinig lang natin na ginagawa, syempre, bote, yung agency or institution that is supervising our election, and also yung technical aspect of it. Kasi maraming technician yan na syempre naghahanap buhay on the sides. Kinakausap yung ibang politiko that they have a way of manipulating.
Despite the fact that we now have a new system, and this is a Korean in origin, so hindi na po ito Smartmatic. Palagay po ninyo, nandiyan pa rin yung mga kuko.
Yung ating nakukuha ng mga system, ang talagang the only safe, masabi natin na hindi yan bandadaya kung hindi natin dadayain. Pero kung talagang may effort to cheat by manipulating the system, it can be done.
Would the impeachment be a referendum on senators and congressmen?
Alam mo, this is strange, no? Ang election natin is about senators and local officials, of course.
Yes,
no?
yes.
Pero talaga ang major concern ng ating mga kababayan, yung ating body politic, nakakonsentrate talaga sa away. O break up ng unity team.
Okay.
Yung away ng president at saka ng vice president.
Parang pelikula po ito. Nag-away yung magsyota o ganon.
Ganon eh. Kaya yan ang tinitignan. Kaya yung whether yung sinasabi nga na nawawala tuloy yung
focus, no?
Yung focus at saka hindi ba yung sinasabi ng marami. Ang hirap naman pumili kasi pare-pareho lang yung mga yan eh. Sa kaliwa ka, sa kanan ka, halos pareho lang. Of course, si former President Duterte, medyo nilagyan niya ng counting, dagdag na kulay yung kanyang team. No? Sabi niya, kung gusto niyo wag ma-impeach yung aking anak, mag-solid vote kayo doon sa aking team. So, parang malaki ang tiwala ni President Duterte doon sa mga pinili niya na senatorial balls. No?
With that kind of analysis, Mr. Secretary, so do you see that if in case many of the Duterte senatorial balls make it, that the impeachment will not proceed? And vice versa, if you will see more of the Bagong Pilipinas Senate slate succeeding and becoming senators, do you see the impending writing on the wall versus Vice President Sara Duterte?
I think just like our other elections, kung sino may control ng cheating at saka kung sino mas maraming pera, siyang magdo-dominate sa darating na election. So, bagamat ipinapasok ni former President Duterte yung issue na wag yun namang ipa-impeach yung anak ko, in the end, what will matter in the result of the election is the cheating and the money involved.
Former President Duterte was just here in Cebu, and one of the most stinging statements he made was the dictatorship statement versus the current administration. So, your thoughts on that?
Well, ang naririnig ko kasi, yung gustong mangyari ng pamilya ng ating presidente ay hindi kayang tapusin sa isang term lamang. So, importante yung impeachment, importante yung pipiliin na vice president na pwedeng siyang maging successor doon sa pinaplano ng pamilya.
I'll cut you there, sir, kasi we have to really pause for a few reminders. Okay. Mabuti medyo mabitin yung mga nanonood natin. Ano? So, magbabalik po Republika pagkatapos ng ilang paalala. Balik ta sa atong programa Republika, ako paghihapon si Eric Espina. Kahinabi nato si Secretary Norberto Gonzales, better known as Bert Gonzales. Sir, yung sinasabi ninyo, no, dictatorship, is it moving towards that direction or it's just the veneer of the actions?
Kasi ang problema kung ang pag-uusapan natin intention, I think may valid yung suspicion na may intention na mag-declare ng emergency situation. But of course, yun namang magdi-declare niya, magko-compute siya, magkakalculate siya eh.
Yes.
Kung gawin ko ito, susuportahan ba ako ng armed forces? How about the opinion of the people? Kasi umiigay na yung mga civil society eh. So, yan ang titignan niya. So to me, I think the safer option for them would be picking the right vice president. Kung sakali. Kasi ang tingin ko kasi, the election might push through, pero sa takbo ng sitwasyon, there is also a chance that it may not push through. Or baka magkaroon talaga ng emergency situation sa bansa.
Is martial law down the road? No, or that would be a misstep?
Martial law means that the president ordered it. No?
Okay.
Pero sa tingin ko sa armed forces, dalawa na ang possible action nila. Hindi lang yung magdi-declare ang martial law, ang presidente susunod sila. O on their own, do something about what's going on in the country.
Okay. We have about 8 minutes, sir, so I'll just go through this, the questions as quickly as possible. Ayuda politics po, ano masasabi ninyo?
Ang hirap sabihin hindi dapat, no?
Okay.
Well, rationally speaking, academically, dapat walang ayuda.
Okay.
Pero nakikita naman natin how deprived our people are, no? A few hundred pesos will give them relief.
Okay.
So sige na lang.
Okay.
Pero tingnan lang natin mabuti, tayo mga nakakaunawa sa politika na this cannot continue.
Okay.
Kailangan pagplanuhan natin dahil ang balita ko yung pinapamigay natin, inuutang natin.
Okay.
So we have to worry about our debt as a government.
Paakibat po nito pork barrel for congressmen and senators.
Ewan ko ba kung saan nanggaling yung pork barrel kasi kung dyan para mampapalubag loob sa mga nasa legislative. Kasi dapat ang lahat ng implementation ng programs of government are done by the executive. Pero binibigyan nila ng pagkakataon yung mga congressman to choose some projects. Ang problema, dati-dati choosing projects lang eh. Ngayon, ang mas mahalaga, yung nakukuha sa project na ibinibigay sa mga congressman. At ang masama pa, yung project, ang mga nag-i-implement mismo yata, mga naging contractors na marami nating congressman.
Naging kontaktista daw.
Kaya, yan, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. So, I think the idea of a pork barrel will have to be examined seriously in the future.
Next to that would be, should local officials have intelligence funds?
I think intelligence funds should be given to appropriate at saka competent intelligence agencies. No? Kung may pangangailangan ka, you can always refer to these agencies. And if you need some money, you can always talk to the president. Kasi meron talagang napakalaking intelligence.
Na pwedeng itulong.
Yeah. Pwede kang humingi. Sa bang ginagamit ni presidente yung kanyang intelligence at saka confidential funds para sa pangangailangan ng buong bureaucracy.
Papunta po tayo sa Southern Mindanao. BARM. Ano tingin po ninyo? Will it be a future problem? And with the postponement of the elections, yung disarmament program ng gobyerno, where are we po sa palagay ninyo?
Wala nang effect yung postpone na yan. Kasi yung problema na handyan na eh.
Okay.
Number one, ang karamihan sa mga, for example, inside the MILF mismo, their supporters, alam na nila na maraming pumapasok na resources.
Maraming pera?
Maraming pera ang BARM, pero hindi nakakarating sa kanila.
Okay.
At wala din namang nakikitang maraming magagandang programa na nangyayari sa BARM.
Bakit po tingin niyo the elections were postponed? To consolidate power or because talagang kailangan?
ang tingin ko dyan nangangamba yung mga kandidato ng BARM na
Hindi mananalo?
hindi sila mananalo.
At iba ang mananalo?
At baka ibang manalo, matitigil yung magandang relasyon sa Malacanang.
Kumikita ba ho yung mga leader ng BARM?
Yun ang nangyayari. Ang balita ko kasi, pag yung, kunyari, binigyan ng 100 million yung BARM, no? 50% of that kailangan ibalik sa pinanggalingan.
Okay.
And ang accounting, ang BARM ang gagawa for the 100%. No?
Okay. Will BARM be a future problem for the Philippines?
Yung hindi decisive, no?
Okay.
Kasi tingin ko walang malakas na armed group ngayon.
Okay.
Na nag-i-assist sa South at saka as I have told doong panahon ko sa national security, kapag walang foreign assistance ang isang rebel group, hindi mananalo.
Would it be fair to say, before I move to the next question, sir, we are capitalizing. I'm using the word capitalizing. Actually, binabayaran natin yung kalaban natin para maging kapitalista na at hindi na maging rebelde.
Alam mo, ang masasabi ko lang dyan, true.
Ganon.
True na nanyu-neutralize mo yung certain generation of rebels. Pero kapag nag-continue na nakikita ng isang lipunan, especially Muslim communities, kapag nakikita nila na ang mga leader nila umaabuso, kinukuha yung dapat na ma-spread sa kanilang lahat, there will always be another group.
Another group.
There will always be another.
A splinter group. Okay. Ito po, no, bilang panghuling katanungan ko sa inyo, naging National Security Advisor kayo. Baka hindi lingid sa mga kaalaman ng tao. Itong National Security Advisor, lahat po ng sektor ng ating lipunan ay hawak ninyo. Pinag-aaralan ninyo, no? Hindi lamang po panggira ito si Secretary Bert, pero lahat, no? Kung hihingan ko po kayo bilang National Security Advisor, ngayon, ano po ipapayo ninyo kay Speaker Martin Romualdez? Okay.
Tingin ko, marami na naman siyang naipon. Itigil lang nakaw.
Okay. Kay Senate President Chis Escudero po.
He's a very brilliant politician. Sana maawa siya sa taong bayan.
Naku, malalim yung sinabi ninyo.
Maawa siya sa Pilipinas.
Parang left-handed compliment yung ginawa ninyo.
Hindi naman. Talaga kasi, alam mo, so far si Chis kasi naayos niya yung kanyang posisyon. So sabi ko, yeah, he can really help the country move forward. I hope he does something as Senate President.
Kung lulubayan niya. Sige. Okay, ito si Vice President Sara Duterte po. How would you advise her?
Alam mo, siya ang constitutional successor.
Yes,
I think that sana, which she is already saying, na talagang concern niya, taong bayan, pagmamahal sa bayan, yun, to me, that is very important. So, medyo total aktibo na naman yung kanyang mga kamag-anak na nagdidepensa sa kanya. Medyo dumistansya na sa family feud. I mean, hindi na ito away ng pamilya. I think she should recognize the fact that yung sinasabi niya, she's representing more than 30 million voters. That is, that is a very serious responsibility.
Yes.
Tignan niya na talaga yung nangyayari sa bayan and speak about it. Kasi pag nagsalita si Vice President, pinapakinggan naman siya, di ba? So she should start discussing major issues. Okay.
Wala ito sa listahan ko, pero isasama ko, mabilisan lang po talaga kasi gahol na tayo sa oras. Former President Rodrigo Duterte. Natawa uli kayo.
Well, I think the President is trying his best to defend the future of his daughter. Mahirap, we are all nakaranas sa magkaroon ng anak. Mahirap mong pigilin yan, no? He should do it, no? Ako kay President, may mga magtatampo sa akin mga kaibigan, pero tingin ko kay President, go ahead, tuloy niya lang kung ano ginagawa.
Okay. Finally, President Bongbong Marcos.
Ay, nako. Alam mo, si President Marcos, nung nakasama ko sa campaign niyan, lumambot ang puso ko eh.
He's a nice guy, no? Pwedeng nice parang guy, kaibigan mo lang eh.
Diba?
Chill na tao.
Kaya nga, sa isip-isip ko, kung matalo ako dito, okay lang.
Mm-mm.
Pero sa ngayon, I think he should start making decisions by himself.
Mhm.
Yun.
Okay, malalim na yun. So, wala na po tayong panahon. Thank you very much, Secretary Norberto Bert Gonzales. Siya po ay tumatakbo Senatorable 2025. At ito po si Eric Espina na palaging nagsasabi sa inyo, sana ito po ay maging isang uyayi ng bawat ina na Pilipino sa bawat tahanan natin. Magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan. Dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, maayong gabi kaninyong tanan.